Hi Flosstube, Stephanie here, Ms. Oh So Crafty. Today is August 4th. Welcome to my 13th Flosstube video. It's been a while, exactly 1 month, and I am sorry for that. I missed you all. I really did, but I've been sick and I wanted to film like 2 weeks ago, but it wasn't possible because I was really truly sick, like high fever, ears ringing, dizzy, and then just so congested, lots of coughing, but I'm better now, so that's good. And it's been kind of a weird month. Like right after we talked last time, and on July 4th, I went on a trip to visit some family, and my son didn't do so well in terms of sleeping on that trip, so things were kind of crazy. And when we came back, I lost my stitchy mojo. I guess when you're that tired, you just don't feel like stitching, So I took a few days to rest and everything, but then I got back into it. So, but it has been a while, like a month, so I do have a lot of things to share, and I've got whips, and I'm going to do Jessie Marie's behind the scenes tag. I've got a little bit of stitchy haul, and depending on time, I might share my Mirabilia pattern stash. We'll see. Okay, so let's get to it. So the first thing I worked on after the video was 12 Days of Christmas by Joan Elliott. Here's what it's supposed to look like. And I was working on it. I'm sort of picture what it looked like last time. When I filmed last time, I was sort of in the middle of working on it. But I continued working on it for another 3 days, I think, after that. So here's how it looks now. This is stitched on 32 count white with silver sparkle even weave by Fabric Flare. I switched out the 14 white 8 that came in the kit. And this past time, what I did is I worked on the back stitching. Oops, sorry. I worked on the back stitching in this area, the geese and the swans and everything. I did all the red, the words, and the green, the words, and the numbers, and then I did some of the black. I did the black and the geese, the partridge, and the swan. And I extended the borders. I did these frames for the final blocks and worked on the bottom border a little bit. Sorry, still a little congested. So not bad for 3 days. I didn't quite meet my lofty goals for it, but I'll get there. And I guess that's about it for, the back stitching took a little bit longer than I thought, so. And I did all the gold metallic as well, and around the frames, close up there. You can see all the gold metallic. There's a lot of it. I'm using the metallic fibers that came in the kit. They're not so bad. I mean, Krennic or Boutique Treasure Raid would have been easier, but what I'm doing with the fibers that came in the kit, I'm just sending it through the needle and doubling it over and then tying a knot at the bottom to serve as my, doing the loop start using the knot at the bottom and the back. And what that means is that the metallic thread is essentially tied to the needle, so it's not going anywhere, it's not shredding, it's not coming uneven or whatever, so that's a good way to keep it under control. Okay, so after that, I worked on, I went away for the weekend, like I mentioned, and I worked on Dancer a little bit while I was gone, but we'll get to that in a bit. And then I lost my stitchy mojo, and then some days later, like a week later, I picked up Angelina by Mill Hill. Yeah, so this one, the 12 Days of Christmas was supposed to be my first project for the Christmas in July Stitch Along over Cross Stitch Finish Line. So I gave that a full week of effort, the first week of July. Mill Hill Angelina was supposed to be the second week. That's what this looks like. Or no, Dancer was supposed to be the second week. This was supposed to be the third week. Yeah. So I did not have a full week to devote to this because of the time off I took, as I mentioned. I only had a few days, but that was good. What I did is I finished the cross stitching on it, the regular cross stitching. So she's all ready for beads and back stitching now. This only took 2 days. I want to sort of pick up what it looked like before. So basically it was like half done or whatever, and now it's ready to go. And it was a lot of fun. Having this thing mounted to the scroll bars makes all the difference. You can see the Velcro here and here. So I'm not rolling it, but I am mounting it. I have sidebars that are like the proper distance. It was originally my goal to finish this one in July, but I just didn't really feel like it, so I will try to finish it before Christmas though. And then I realized that the third weekend of the month had passed, which is when I normally work on Love with a capital L by Papillon Creations. That's this one. So I decided to put in 2 days worth of effort on that. And I'll insert a pic of what it looked like before. Here we go. So what I worked on this time was this page, 11 out of 12. So I worked on the VE, the NF, this band pattern here, always hopes, always P, that will be perseveres, and this will be never fails. So this, and then I also spent some time charting a new section to do the bottom. You can see I still have quite a bit of fabric here to work with. So I'm going to add my wedding details. These are actually my wedding colors that we had, the crimson and the gold and the warm like autumn orange. Got married in November of 2005. It's been a while. I'm hoping to finish this by November, which will be our 11th wedding anniversary this year. So what I did is I found a free like rose border pattern online. So that will be, there'll be a border, like another horizontal band, like beneath here, and then I'll have first name and last, full name, me, and full name husband, united in marriage, and then the date. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines of text. And I had to do some math to try to figure out like how to extend the border pattern and how to space it all, and I sincerely hope that my math is correct, because frogging this is not much fun. This is being stitched 1/1 on 25 count vintage antique white Lugana, and I'm using Gloriana silk floss in crimson, pumpkin, and copper. So close, very close. Definitely will finish it this year, hopefully by November, like I said. And then, after that, I was like, well, gee, I want to start Earth Goddess this month in July. I better get to it. The month was over half over by that point, so. This is what the pattern looks like. Earth Goddess by Joan Elliott. And I did indeed start it. Spent 3 days on it. The third day was kind of a rush because that's when I got sick. Anyway, so here it is. I'm stitching this on Highland Belfast by Picture This Plus. It's sort of a light green with darker green streaks and kind of like an earthy undertone to it. It's really nice. And I started in the middle at her waist, and I did, I put in like a lot of the colors in her skirt and some of the grass, so I did stitch the grass over to the edge. I had a fat quarter of this fabric, and the way the pattern is oriented, it's like a horizontal orientation, but I didn't want to use, I have a frame, a lap frame that will accommodate a fat quarter mounted horizontally like that, but it's kind of a pain to use because it doesn't really fit in my lap very well. And then I looked at the stitch count, and I was like, well, this pattern isn't really that big. I mean, do I have to like use the full width of the fabric? And the answer to that question was no. So this fabric is in portrait orientation, but I cut some of it off because I didn't need the full height of it. So I do need the full 18 inches across, but I did not need the full 26 tall, so I cut some off. And I think I'm going to be doing that more and more because I'm on a budget and I love hand-dyed fabric, but you don't really need a huge margin a lot of times, so I'm going to be more mindful of that and probably cut fabric up more henceforth. So this is like a great example of how I like to stitch, like the cross-country method, and there's around 10 colors on here. So this is like a little bit of like, that'll be a mushroom, and then this is like the wheel or the ring that's around her head, the wheel of life, if you will. So it was a lot of fun to stitch, and I'm looking forward to getting back to it in like hopefully this month. So we'll see if I can. Hopefully I'll be able to finish like this quadrant. This would be the bottom right quadrant, and work on the bottom left as well. I do want to finish her this year. Excuse me. Okay, sorry about that. Needed a drink of water. My throat is still not, completely healthy. So anyway, so that was 3 days, and then I got sick, and it was an annoying sickness, but only the first day of the sickness was like I couldn't stitch. That was when I was like all feverish and dizzy and ears ringing and everything. After that, I felt horrible for a while, but it wasn't like completely incapacitated like I was the first day, so I was able to stitch. And my plan for that 4th week in the month was to work on the Spirit of Christmas by Lavender Lace. I will insert a photograph in my previous progress. So I'm stitching this on 32 count dwarf Belfast fat eighth by Picture This Plus. Really pretty cool blue modeled. And I worked on the bottom half of the project basically, and then started working on the top right quadrant as well. So this is a pretty easy stitch, not too big. A lot of long bands of color in his coat. The fur trim though is more, I don't know if confetti is the right word, but it's not bands of color. And it is like a lot of white and off-white. There's like 4 different shades of white and cream in there. So white and cream and yellow. And then the greenery in the wreath is like 4 different shades of green or so, maybe 5. And then the ribbon is like 3 or 4 shades of red. So I did finish the bottom half, with the exception of right there is like, that'll be his belt buckle, and that's done in metallic. I like to add the metallic at the last, unless I really need it for counting purposes. And then I did most of this wreath in the upper right. I did not do the candle flames. Like there should be one right there, and one right there, and one right there. And I did not completely fill in this bow business up here, and I did not fill in the lighter green up here. You can see like lighter green in there. There's no lighter green up here. There should be. And then I couldn't leave well enough alone, so I decided to like clean up some of my pork threads, and I did like some of his like collar and his beard and I think that's the trim on his hat over there. So you can see this pattern. Excuse me. Maybe 3/4 of the way done. I don't know. I could probably finish in this year, but I'm not really in a rush. I don't know. We'll see. I'll get into my plans for my whips a little bit later. So that was 7 days, and then I had a few days at the end of the month, and I wanted to work on my Stoney Creek Summer Bellpull. That would be for the It's a Sunshine Day Stitch Along over on Stitch Mania. So here's what it's supposed to look like. Summer. And I'll insert a picture of what it looked like before. I'm working this on 18 count and cloth by MCG Textiles. That I bought an Afghan of it at Hobby Lobby, cut it into Bellpull size. stuff ravels like you wouldn't believe. You can see like this fringe over here, and this is a line I did with my sewing machine. That, yeah, very ravelly stuff. So I worked on the block here. This one was fun. I like fruit, you know, and the butterflies and everything. That was fun to do. The strawberries and the watermelon and everything. This tablecloth pattern, though, took forever. It was a lot of stitching. And then I worked on the second block down here. So, and then sketched out the E block. The reason for that. So the second block is supposed to look like this. So you can see it needs the starfish and some shells and some more flip-flops and beach and water and bucket and shovel and greenery and stuff, but it's a decent start. And then the E block, let's see, sorry, I want to show you guys the pattern. So here's the E. So I did a little bit of that tablecloth business. That was just so I'll be able to place the camper vans that you see in the E block. I'll be using this for the Stitchy Olympics or Stitch Mania. So this would be my real project, but we'll get into that later. And then August rolled around, so I worked on the Stoney Creek 4 days, including August 1st. I couldn't put it away. But then on August 2nd, I picked up Siren and Shipwreck. My idea for this was to just work on the beading and get it so that I could finish it easily during Stitch Mania. And I spent 2 days on it, so. And as you can see, she's almost done. Beads galore. So I'd done this part before, the beading on the tail, and then lots more beads. The part that's left is there's supposed to be 2 more treasures in her hair, and the one that came in the bead pack, it just doesn't look right because I did a conversion on this for her hair color. So I'm going to need to go to the L&S and find, you know, something that looks better, that doesn't clash with her red hair. It was like a light purple thing. It just doesn't look right. So I did make a ton of mods to this, and I'll get into that when I, you know, share this as an FO, but it's not quite done yet. This is stitched on 32 count Belfast sea glass and the hand dyed by Steph. Really beautiful, like sea green, dark sea green. So almost done, and I think she might be my favorite of the mermaids that I've done so far, which include Mermaids of the Deep Blue and Emerald Mermaid and Mediterranean and this one. So yeah, lots of fun working her, lots of fun beading. Excuse me. The beading wasn't too hard. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot that required like significant counting, you know. So it was basically just like plop it in the holes that were left by the stitching. So it was a lot of fun, and it didn't take that long. Just about like, I'd say like a day and a half of stitching time. So it was cool. I do want to finish her this year, but like I said, I need to get to the L&S, and I'm not sure. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, I'm back. So I could run out to the L&S this weekend, but I don't know. I'm planning on visiting 2 L&S's in a few weeks here. I'm taking a little vacay to Pennsylvania, and I found 2 shops that are going to be sort of like en route. They include Grim Hollow Stitchery and Stitches Unlimited. If anybody has any experience with those shops, feel free to let me know in the comments. I've never been there, but I'm looking forward to checking them out, and I assume they have mill hole treasures. I mean, they must between the 2 of them, so I'll try to find something there. And I'll look for the elusive, perfect red, orange, yellow thread for my Love with a capital L piece. So that's it for my whips. And then, okay, so I do have an FO to share, and that is by Nora Corbett, Dancer. This is stitched on 32 count opal pewter Belfast from Picture This Plus, and He was a lot of fun. Once I recovered my stitchy mojo and got back to him, it didn't take long to finish him, just a few days. So I'd say all in all, stitching time was like 8 or 9 days total. And lots of bling on this guy. Or girl, whatever. And lots of krennic in there. The snow that he's standing on, the snowy ground, all that is krennic. And then there's some beads in the border as well. Beading this thing was so fun. I mean, he was cute to start with, but after he added the beads, or she or whatever, with the bracelets and everything, very cool. And I'm really happy with this. This is my second reindeer. I am, excuse me, planning to do 8, and the sled probably. So it was a lot of fun. This was one of my mania starts, so it feels good to finish a mania project. Hopefully I'll be able to finish a few more before the December 31st rolls around. I just love the bling, like the teardrop there. That's cool. So blingy. Lots of fun. And now for my plans. So tomorrow starts the Stitchy Olympics, and I'm really excited. I'm going to be doing like a rotation type thing where I'm going to do the Stitchy Olympics with Stitch Mania, where every day, different theme, different project, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll insert some pictures as I'm talking. So August 5th, tomorrow, the theme is blue from the Olympic rings. I'll be working on the 12 Days of Christmas by Joan Elliott, which you just saw a few minutes ago. There's plenty of blue in that piece. August 6th, International. My plan was to work on Siren and Shipwreck, but I can't because I don't have the necessary, I need more treasures to do so. So I've changed my mind. I'm going to be starting a new project. It will be Donner by Nora Corbett, one of the reindeer, sorry. And I figure he's international because, you know, Santa flies around the world, so on Christmas Eve with his reindeer. So he's an international reindeer. So August 7th, the yellow from the Olympic rings, that's going to be the Celtic Autumn by Lavender and Lace. We'll insert a pic. There's lots of yellow in that, like her bodice is like yellow, so maybe I'll work on that a little bit. And then August 8th, Water. I'm going to work on The Castle by Teresa Wentzler, insert a pic. That one is like, well, the castle is over water, so there's tons of water in that piece. And then August 10th, sorry, Specialty Stitches. That will be, I'm sort of punting on that one. I'm going to use Backstitch, which is technically a specialty stitch. So it's going to be Earth Goddess, which has tons and tons of backstitching. I may not actually get to any backstitching because I'm not at a spot where I can backstitch yet, but we'll see. Maybe there's a little bit I could do. And then August 11th, green. That will be Earth Goddess again because, you know, lots of green in that piece, and plus she stitched one green. And then August 12th, the triathlon, 3 pieces. So that's going to be Angelina, the ornament, Earth Goddess, and Celtic Autumn. And then August 13th, the red for the Olympic rings. That's going to be Love with a capital L. We'll insert a pic. That one has lots of red in it. Red is the main color, the crimson, Gloriana. And then August 14th, animals. I'm going to be a little creative here and go with a mythical animal, a unicorn. So it's going to be the maiden and the unicorn by Vermilion. And then August 15th, white. For the Olympic rings, that's going to be Celtic Autumn again. Lots of white in that piece. And then August 16th, the wheel. That's going to be Summer Bellpull, the wheels of the camper van, like I showed you on the E-block. And I'll also, that won't take me long to stitch those wheels. It's just like a little bit of stitching in black. So I'll go back up to the block above it, the second M block, and try to knock some of that out. And then August 17th, gold. Angelina, there is gold in that piece, gold metallic. I will work on adding the metallic, I guess. And maybe it might be at the beating stage by then, so we'll see. And then August 18th, musical. I'll be working on the 12 Days of Christmas again. So I'll be working on the next block, which is Lords Leaping. And then August 19th, Silver, I'll be working on Donner again. That will be my new start from the 6 International. So I'll be working on him again because, believe it or not, that is my only project at the moment that has silver in it. It's Silver Krennic, so. And then August 20th, Fire. That will be The Spirit of Christmas by Lavender and Lace. I will be working on those candle flames. And then, I don't know how long it'll take me to do the candle flames. I'll probably be able to work on the wreath and the ribbon a little bit more, too. And then August 21st, Copper. That will be Love with a capital L again. That has some copper floss in it. Copper by Gloriana, which is like a dark orange type thing. So, rust color. That will be fun. And I'm going to be away for part of this, so I'll be taking the pieces with me. And we'll see how much, I get done. But, I mean, as long as I get a little bit of stitching in every day, I'll consider it a success. And then you may notice that I am doing pretty much all whips except for the Donner, which will be a new start. And he's small. Lately, I've been thinking a lot about my whips, and I'm still committed to doing the year starts. I still want to do 16 new projects this year, but next year I want to get my whip count down. I think like 8 projects would be good for me, because I rotate on a weekly basis, so that means I get to every project within a 2-month period. And it would just be nice, I think, to fit things in more. Okay, so I've toyed with the idea of doing categories for my rotation, and I'm not completely committed to this idea yet because I don't want to regiment it too much, but this is my idea. So for 8 slots, I would have a Christmas slot, a Mirabilia, a Joan Elliott, a seasonal, literary, which kind of loosely defined, anything that pertains to like books or poetry or whatever, and holiday, and then flora and fauna, fantasy, and then finally fantasy. So, and then the only thing that doesn't really fit in would be my Celtic lady. So that would be like a 9th category. Or I could maybe fit it in under the seasonal or whatever. I'm not really sure though. So we'll see. Okay, so I wanted to do the behind the scenes tag. Thank you, Jessie, for these questions. The first one is take a picture of your setup for your recording behind the scenes setup. So I did take a little short video clip and I will insert it here. Hey Flosstube, here's my behind the scenes filming setup. You can see my, my husband's MacBook there on top of the stand. That's what I use to film. And the little notebook behind it is where I keep notes. And then you can see my whips and patterns that go with those whips stacked in, they're rolled and stacked in chronological order from oldest to newest. And then there's a piece of poster board over there which I use as a white surface to put my whips on and stuff so you can see them clearly. And then under the whiteboard you may see a little hint of papers and stuff. That is my stitchy haul. Alright, back to the main video. The second question is, how did you come up with your channel name? So it's Oh So Crafty. Oh So Crafty was my first and only handle for internet use. Yes, I was around when the internet first came into being and everything, and I chose it for my Ravelry handle and my message board handle and stuff like that. Although I think I got into Ravelry. Ravelry was my first online community, I think. So I chose Oh So Crafty because sewing is one of my long, enduring loves. And I am, generally crafty. I do a lot of different things besides, cross-stitch and sewing. I knit, and I do, felt applique, and I make stuff. I make wreaths, and I paint miniatures, and I do all sorts of, decor type things, and, yeah, generally crafty. And I also do, home improvement type stuff. I've done many projects that my husband just thought could not be done, but you know what? They could be done. They could be done by me with a screwdriver and a drill and whatever. So I think that, qualifies as crafty. And then as for the Ms. part, well, that's like when I signed up for a Google account or whatever, they wanted a first name and a last name. So I couldn't just use Oh So Crafty. So I made Ms. my first name. And why Ms.? Well, I guess it's because I don't want to be nominally defined by my marital status. Like think about Mr. So you could have Mr. Smith, could be like a young bachelor, or it could be an old man. Like, why can't women have the same, like, marital neutral sort of status? So yeah, Ms. Oh So Crafty. That's me. And then the third question is, when did you post your very first video to YouTube with Flosstube Stitching Intentions? That was January 21st of this year. I had discovered Flosstube a few weeks before that, and I really enjoyed watching the videos, and I thought, man, I'm a crazy cross stitcher. I've got a lot to share. I should make my own. So it took me a little bit of time to figure it out and get the logistics worked out, but I did start then. So the fourth question is, what do you use for your videos? I use my husband's MacBook, and sometimes I use my iPhone for if I'm doing like clips or whatever. Sorry. The fifth question is, do you record onto video software or directly onto YouTube? I record into iMovie, and that's software that's on the Mac. I started out using Camtasia, which my husband recommended to me. I kind of had a hard time with that, so I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I definitely recommend iMovie if you're looking for video software. Number 6 is, do you edit? If so, what do you use? Yes, I use iMovie, and it's great software, very intuitive. For Camtasia, I had to watch like tutorials, like hours of tutorials, and I still struggle. But with iMovie, I just pretty much like figured it out, Trial and error, it's not that hard. And why do I edit? I do it because I want to insert like pics and stuff, and sometimes I get interrupted, and I just prefer to edit that stuff out. And like today, I'm editing out a lot of the coughing and stuff. I'm sure you guys don't want to hear that. So, and I edit out, like sometimes I'll like find myself repeating something I said earlier. So I'll just edit that out or whatever. And yeah, I like editing. It's not a big deal. Number 7, how many takes are involved in your videos, or do you record all in one shot? I do generally record it in one shot. There are sometimes if I'm like messing up or if I get interrupted, I will just like pause and then like go back, to like my previous couple sentences or whatever and re-record that business. And there has been times where like the lighting was like bad for whatever, so I would re-record a section, but I do aim to do it on one shot. Number 8, if things go wrong during recording, do you stop and restart or just post it? Yeah, well, I just mentioned that. I don't exactly stop it, but I do like restart sort of. Not from the beginning, but just like from a few minutes before. So number 10, from the beginning of setup to video completely unloaded, how long does a standard video take? Well, uploading can take forever, but like recording generally takes like 30 to 45 minutes, and then editing maybe like an hour, and then uploading could just be like 2 to 3, maybe even 4 hours, even overnight. So I'll say like maybe 8 hours, but of that time, only maybe like 2 hours is like active time. So number 10, what sort of prep do you do? Script, organization, run through, or practice? Well, what I do is I have this little spiral bound notebook, and I make little notes, which come in handy, especially if I'm taking like a month between videos. I would never remember that I worked, 7 days on whatever project. So I just write down, what the project and how long I worked on it, basically. And sometimes I write down like my haul as it comes in. And here I wrote down some of the behind the scenes tag questions, although I'm just using a screenshot. Now, I don't run through a practice. I don't have a script. This is not like a professional video or whatever. It's just like me and my stitching, so sorry. What you see is what you get, you know? And that's cool. I mean, this is like, I don't want it to look too like slick and professional, you know? That's not what it's about. It's just about like sharing with the community, you know? So, and then number 11, do you watch your own videos once published? Yes, especially in the early days. I found it very helpful to like find what I needed to improve on, you know? Because my first Flosstube video was my first ever video. So there was definitely a lot of stuff to learn. And like this time, I watched it because it was just so long ago that I filmed my last video. So I just kind of needed a refresher. Okay, number 12. If you could change or enhance or improve your videos, what would you do? I would have better lighting. So I figured out lighting for like all my knitting photographs. I built like a light box to take photographs of my yarn for Ravelry, and then I figured out the magic hour for photographing knitwear, which would be like dawn or twilight. So with cross stitch, it's a bit more difficult though, because I mean, sure, I could put my pieces in a light box or whatever, but for videos, I can't really build a light box around myself, you know? So, but I mean, I think it's decent. I mean, I'm sitting under a skylight and I've got some lights on. There is plenty of light in this room. That's why I chose this room, because it is one of the brighter rooms in my house. This is like the breakfast room or whatever. So yeah, but I'm sure like there are some professional like light tricks that would come in handy, and it would be nice to have like a real like camcorder maybe, but whatever. Not in the cards. The laptop does an adequate job, I think. So. And then number 13, share any tidbits you might have about your own recording or any funny stories related to your channel. Well, right, as you saw in my little clip, I have the laptop propped up on a stand, which I actually got the stand for my husband as a birthday present in May, and this was something he requested. It was on his wish list, but it comes in great for my videos because I've got the laptop on a bar. I'm sitting on a bar stool, and if you just sit it on the bar, it's too low, it's a funny angle or whatever. So what I used to do is I would stack up like kitchen stuff, like pots and pans and cookie tins and stuff like that to get the proper height, which is kind of funny. And then like another thing that's kind of funny is that I typically edit this sitting with my husband. He's got like this huge desk that easily accommodates the laptop, and I sit on one side, he sits on the other. It's like an L-shaped desk, and I edit my video, and he listens to it, and he just like laughs hysterically. He thinks it's so funny when I make comments like, I'm a little bit of a control freak, and he'll be like, yeah, a little bit, ha ha ha, whatever. Yeah, that's real life, right? So that's it for the behind the scenes tag, and thank you again, Jessie Marie, for those questions. They were great. And then I will get into my stitchy haul. So it's been a month, and I have gotten quite a few things. So I'll start with the patterns. I got these from Leslie's D-Stash sale. Eek and Creepy and Pumpkin and Fright. I might do this whole series as such. So I've stitched 2 of these like Lizzie Kate series, like the tall vertical pieces before. So they're a lot of fun. And then I got some Mirabilia patterns. Here's Queen Mermaid. I got this from Threadneedle Street, a shop in the Pacific Northwest. I think it's in Washington State. Thank you, Evergreen Needle, Kelly, for the heads up, because this is out of print, and I was not willing to pay, like, inflated prices or whatever, so I was able to get it for retail, which I was very happy with. And shipping was reasonable, just a few dollars, so I love her. I think she's really pretty. And then I got, I guess this is the mermaid month, so here's Aphrodite. Love this. And the Shimmering Mermaid. This one I saw at the retreat. I loved it, so might need to stitch her one of these days. And then I got Blend in Place Frankie the Thinker. Really cute. I want to stitch more Halloween stuff. Maybe that'll be my thing for next year. I've been really into stitching Christmas, but maybe I need to like shift gears a little bit and do more Halloween. And then I got Fresh from the Orchard again. You saw this on my last video, so I'm not going to get into it, but the one I bought before didn't have the mats. So, here are the mats. Those two and these two. And I'll just show you the patterns or the pics real quick for those of you who haven't watched my other video. So here's the apple and the grape. The pear. Oh, that was the apple. Sorry, this is the peach. Peach and grape. And pear and apple. I'm going to do these for my kitchen. As you can see, they're not that big. They're like 8 by 10 or whatever, so with the mat. So. And then I got a kit. Winnie the Pooh #2. Love this. This is like my son's first favorite Winnie the Pooh. And I probably need to like get on this pretty quick before he's too old to like enjoy it. He's 2 right now, so he'll be 3 in February. I might start this in January. I think there's like a full coverage stitch along going on and like cross stitch finish line maybe, so this would be a good piece for that. And then the most exciting bit of my haul is some fabric from Leslie. This is worth taking out the package for. This is Enchanted Forest, 36 Edinburgh. Greens and browns, really pretty. I'm gonna stitch the Fairy Ideal on here. I needed 36 because it's a big enough pattern. It won't really fit very well in a fat quarter if you do it on 32, but it'll fit fine on 36. And just like the full piece. So. Sorry. And then I got. All right, so the second piece I got is Zeus's Domain. This is 32 Belfast, so it's like an ombre effect. Light at the top, dark at the bottom. And I'm planning to stitch Aphrodite in here, so I will show you. So the dark part will be at the bottom, or the shell will be at the bottom, so the light shell I think will really pop off the dark, and then her dark hair and everything will be on the lighter part, so I think that'll look great. Very much like she's at the bottom of the ocean, and she's just like, as the water goes up, it gets lighter, so that's cool. And then, last but not least, I got 32 Jovelin and Ice Princess. Really pretty blue-white sort of tie-dye effect, kind of. I don't know, why did I get Jovelin for this? I mean, I like Jovelin. I like it better than Lugana. And I wanted to make my order a bit cheaper, so I decided to go for Jovelin as opposed to Belfast. And I think it's really pretty. I'm going to use this for the Mirror Snow Queen, and that's a big pattern too, but I took a very hard look at it and decided it will fit on a fat quarter, albeit with not a whole lot of framing allowance, but enough for me. I can make it work. And then I I guess that's about it. It's been 50 minutes. It's a pretty long video, so I think I'll save my mirror patterns for next time. So thank you everybody for watching, and especially thank you to my subscribers. Welcome to all the new folks, and it's great to see you. Great to be part of this community. I really did miss you guys last month, but as you can see, I wasn't really like fit for making a video. All the coughing today is like, I haven't been coughing this much, but nor have I been talking this much either, so I guess that accounts for it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys, well, in a week or two. Tomorrow I'm going to start doing a vlog for Stitch Mania for the Stitch Olympics, so I'll do that, the whole Olympics. So that's it for my stitching, and if that's what you came for, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. I'll be starting my vlog tomorrow and probably uploading like within 7 days or 8 days or so. I'll try to cut the Olympics in half. So that's the way I'll do it, and I'll see you soon. Otherwise, I do have some knitting to share, and that is the sweater that I'm wearing. So let me move the camera. So the pattern is called Ariel, and it's excuse me, by Kim Hargreaves, published in her pattern book called Misty, and that's a great book. Kind of pricey, but a lot of nice stuff in it. I was wearing it buttoned up the whole video, but it's cute, like with the placket half open, like such. And I like it this way too. So I knit this back in 2010, took me 3 weeks. I used Knit Picks Comfy Fingering, around 900 yards of it, it's a fingering weight, 75 cotton, 25 acrylic, and I knit the sweater on US 2s for a gauge of 7 1/4 stitches per inch, and I did the 34-inch size, which is 0 ease on me. The pattern was fine. It was rather pithy, which I appreciate, but it did sort of leave a lot up to the knitter's interpretation. So as for the shaping, I just sort of did what I thought made sense. The way it's knit is kind of interesting. You start with this ruffle business at the bottom, and sorry, you knit it, you know, like vertically or side to side or whatever, and then you pick up stitches and knit up. So the cool construction, but the ruffle business was very tedious. And in fact, I mean, the whole knitting of the whole sweater was pretty tedious, you know, being on such tiny needles and everything, but it's worth it because you have such a nice, lightweight garment in the end, and I really do like it. I love the color, sort of a cool gray, very neutral, and nice for summer. So I did pearl buttons. Got these at G Street Fabric. They're really pretty. Big mother of pearl. Very like shiny and everything. And the yarn is nice because you can just toss it in the washing machine and the dryer, so it's very easy care, and it's cost effective as well. This cost to knit this was around 14 bucks or something, so yeah, I mean, not bad. So that's it for my knitting, and I want to thank you guys all for watching. I love you all. And I will see you soon with my stitching vlog. Ta-ta!